Gavin, I'm dead.
Jesse, it's good to see you again. Even though it's virtually, every time I see your face, I feel like my day brightens up a little bit. I know you guys got what, close to 30,000 steps today?
Yeah, I can't. 30,000 seems so easy until you get to like 23. And then the final seven is like torture.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. It's always like the first, like for me, it's always like the first 10,000 seem like, okay, this is seamless. This is easy. I think the last time I hit that many steps was that night where we went to Hooters with Reed and we were all
Yeah.
hanging out. And I remember that next day, like, having like I don't know if this would be described as like shin splints. I was never in like track or cross country, so like I don't know, but I remember they'd always be complaining about that, like, oh, I got shin splints, and it's like, yeah, no, I can't relate to that. I have no clue what you're talking about.
An ice bath
Now,
would feel good. Yeah.
where'd you guys go walking today?
We went to Pike Island, but um I would say I probably have the closest thing to shin splints that I've had since high school being in track. We ran for a total of about a mile and a half on top of the 13 and a half miles we did.
Oh, you
So
ran?
yeah, yeah, and we
Oh,
did we did over 48 flights of stairs as well, according to the app.
oh my god, I
The
didn't know you guys
elevation change.
ran too, like
Yeah,
legit jogging.
yeah, legit jogging. Yeah,
Oh geez, you guys are
we
getting really interactive.
we looked at each other and we had the discussion about it. We're like, should we run a little bit? And this was at like mile 9 or mile 10 at this point, and we were both starting to kind of feel it, and we're thinking, well, maybe it'll help us get it over with a little bit quicker. So we ran for a little while. And
Yeah, that's funny because I feel like there's been times where like Reed and I will go walking too, and he'll casually bring it up, like, "Oh, should we run?" And I'm like, "Nah, fuck out of here with that."
I have to say, I would say I'm in the best shape that I've been in since I've been in high school. When I got done running, when I was running at the point of like 25,000 steps, when I was running, when I had just finished right before you do that big incline,
Oh yeah,
we
yeah.
finished it with that big incline and then the stairs down, but we ran from where that bridge is to the incline. We jogged, right?
Oh
So
God.
before we walked up that incline, I had this I had this shot of adrenaline and dopamine right before we went on the incline from running after being exhausted, and I just felt so high. And that was the first time in my life that I can think of where I've gotten a high off of exercise. And it was to the point of pushing myself to the point of, exhaustion, to the point where I couldn't walk anymore. But if I my mentality pushed through that, it gave me this, I can't explain it.
It's that runner's high they're always talking about.
Yeah, it does exist, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I've had something like that. Like if you hit a really good workout or something like that, you do kind of get that feeling of like, okay, I'm feeling really good right now, and you're not even actually high. You're just like, being healthy.
Yeah, right. Imagine that. What a concept.
I know. Imagine like not getting high and feeling just as good.
That's where it's at, I guess.
Uh,
So I'm happy to be in this place. I'm glad that I am in this place. I'm lucky that I'm in this place. But
Yeah, no, and
um,
I gotta give you a shout out, man. You've been really disciplined too. I mean, in these last few months, I know you've been on a huge weight loss journey and like all the weight you've lost, continuing to stay disciplined through like the ups and downs of it. Like I can imagine you probably feel better than you have, yeah, like you said, since high school, even in the
yeah,
feeling more confident, be feeling better physically and mentally. I mean, it's a holistic thing.
I now weigh what I weighed in high school as a senior. I'm 173 as of this morning.
Okay, that's solid. And what were you at when you like started this journey?
Um, so when I left to Costa Rica, I was about 195 ish, 190 to 195.
Okay. Hell yeah.
Before I separated from my ex-wife, I think May of 2022, I was 225. So
Okay.
since 2022, I've lost 52 pounds.
Damn, dude. Yeah, good for you.
Yeah, I've downplayed it for a long time, but I thought to myself today that that number, 225 down to 173, that's a that's pretty monumental. And
That's, I mean, 50 pounds is a lot. And how tall are you?
I'm 5'11 and 3/4.
Okay. Well, I like how you specified that. So just short of six, right?
Yeah, yeah. Anybody listening, I'm 5'11" and 3/4, maybe 9/16.
It's like the same thing. Like I think I'm like the same. I'm probably like an inch taller than that, but it's like I could say 6'1", but it's like nah,
Six and
six,
a half.
6.5,
Yeah.
give or take.
Yeah. Depends on the
Six
day.
one, 6'1" in shoes,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. You just have to jelk your spine a little bit.
Nothing wrong with little jelking. I mean, a
No,
little jelking goes a long way around here.
literally.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah. So I guess I would attribute the weight loss journey to uh better eating.
Oh, for
I
sure.
you when you first split up from a relationship, you have like that like 3 month, like, okay, here's my revenge body, but you're not doing it for yourself. So, I dropped weight like crazy, right? And why was I actually doing it? Because I wasn't looking for any women. I just decided I'm just gonna lose weight. And I got down to like 185 at my lowest at that point. And then, for like the last year and a half with struggling with some, addiction stuff and eating junk food all the time. Before Costa Rica came, I had ballooned back up to like 190, 195. Wasn't working out a whole lot. And then after I had gone Costa Rica and then ayahuasca, I've been on another level of locked in. Now I will say I'm not perfect. When I on my way home today, I stopped and picked up a snack wrap from McDonald's because we were talking about snack wraps on the walk.
Oh,
So
dude, I think since they brought those back, I've had like 3 or 4 of them. Like now it's McDonald's, right? You're not gonna get a great. It's not. It's good for what it is, but like it just when I eat them, it just tastes like nostalgia.
it doesn't taste like it used to me. That was the first time I really had one since they relaunched it, and it didn't taste the same to me. I don't know what I was expecting, but because like you said, it's McDonald's. So like what is it really? It is what it is, and you expect it to be that way. But I guess I was expecting, I don't know, that more of that nostalgia I think that you got.
Yeah, I remember my mom really liking the snack wraps growing up, and we'd go there and order them. They only brought back like the spicy ranch and like regular ranch. I remember growing up
Yeah.
though, they had like a honey mustard one. That one was dialed.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
there's no honey mustard. There's just the two, the spicy and the regular. I did get both. And you know what I saw an ad for? The spicy McMuffin. McDonald's, by the way, like 5 years behind the curve. Okay. Like you haven't done anything like this for half of a decade plus. When's the last time they did anything creative or fun?
Yeah, that's true. I feel like when we were growing up, they'd always have fun stuff like that, like
Yeah.
promotional items. Like I remember their menu used to be so much bigger too. They had salads, like they had more burgers. They had like the chicken selects. I know they brought back the tenders and everything, but it's just not the same as it used to be.
They used to have like those special like pub burger things too, like the mushrooms and Swisses, and there was a little bit more variety, and it seemed like they were trying a little bit more. But
Oh,
now,
for
for like the last 5 years, it's just been like, and the price is stupid. By the way, I mean the
yeah.
cost of McDonald's is crazy.
For sure. I remember going there in high school and I'd have like $4 or $5 and you would just obliterate the dollar menu, and it'd be like,
Yeah, you
oh
got five
fuck.
McDoubles for $5.
Yeah, and now you go there with $5 and you ain't getting jack. Like, oh
Yeah,
man, but I
getting a
still do
hash
love
brown.
like the hash brown, McDouble, McChicken. I mean, I'll obliterate it. It's gone.
Yeah, I think personally for myself, I think the quality has also kind of has kind of spiraled a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely no Little Caesars, that's for sure.
So somebody on Instagram Reels did that video of here's a Big Mac after 30 days, here's a Whopper after 30 days, and here's a Five
Oh,
Guys burger after 30 days. Have you seen
catch
this
how
one?
it like the bacteria and how it like
Yeah.
decays or whatever.
So the Big Mac is untouched. It's just still the exact same after 30 days. The Whopper did grow
Like mole or whatever.
something on it, right? And then the Five Guys burger, they couldn't even open the bag. It was so bad. And it was just, so what does that tell you? What, because you have to think about when you digest it and it goes into your stomach, and what are you asking your stomach to do? Are you asking your stomach to break down something that Mother Nature itself can't break down? something to think about. And by the way, the price of McDonald's is not much different than Five Guys, and Five Guys is stupidly
It's
priced.
expensive. Yeah. Like, I mean, a Big Mac meal, shit, that's probably like what, 12 or 13 bucks after tax. Now
It's
you can
some
go to Five Guys for a few more bucks and get something better.
it's crazy. It's crazy. You could get a steak bowl or a chicken bowl at Chipotle with guacamole for 12 or 13 bucks. So
That's true. Or you could order off the value cravings menu from Taco Bell last night, 16.50, Jesse. $16.50. And I got like 7 items, dude. And we still ordered New York Gyro after that.
oh my God. No wonder Reed felt so guilty today.
Yeah.
He was talking about his bloated stomach for half of the trip, and he didn't reveal the Taco Bell part of it. He only revealed the New York Euro part of it.
I was the one who blew up Taco Bell a little bit more because
Okay.
I didn't even eat the New York Gyro. It's sitting in my damn fridge right now. But I got like a stacker, like a cheesy bean and rice, a chicken enchilada burrito. Like I got like 5 or 6 items, and with he only got like 2 things. It was 16.50, dude. I was like, okay, yeah. See, this is my Taco Bell's go to. This is great.
Yeah, and by the way, it's not that bad of food comparatively speaking in quality to other fast food.
No, and the calories too are like, I mean, it's not great, right? Like, you get what you get, but it's not too bad. It's really not.
Yeah. Yeah, I love me some Taco Bell. On August 7th, they are re-releasing the loaded grillers.
Now that's nostalgia.
That's nostalgia. Yep.
That's where it's at right
Three
there.
bucks a piece, by the way. $3 a piece. That's what you call marketing right there.
I'll catch that on the value cravings menu. There's nothing wrong with blowing up some Taco Bell. I know it's like it's just a guilty pleasure.
I totally get what you mean. I can't disagree with you in any form. It's so damn good. It really
Yeah,
is.
it's the gift that keeps on giving, and just like,
yeah,
and then you douche it in the sauce, with the hot, mild fire. Oh my gosh.
yeah. Yeah, it's special. And going back to losing 52 pounds, it's something that I've had to really curve it. And quitting drugs really hard. Quitting fast food harder.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, addiction, alcoholism, like, food, people, there's a lot of people addicted to food. I think that's overlooked a lot. Like when people are trying to diet, like, like how they always say abs are built in the kitchen, like when people are lifting weights and they'll sit there and do 100 crunches. It's like, no, unless your body fat's low, you're never going to have abs that pop out. Like really, like when you're like on a journey like that, the working out will help you get there. Of course, the steps, the running, lifting weights, whatever you like doing, biking, but it really, really starts in the kitchen. You got to get your diet dialed in because if that sucks, you're never going to reach your goals.
We were at a point in America here in the early 90s where the Drug Administration system released this food pyramid where they told us to have like 9 to 11 servings of grain every single
I,
day.
I remember it was like that was the one at the bottom, right? And as it went
Yeah.
up, and like you had like your junk food up at the top, but yeah, like grains and like
Eat
it's
your
like
bread.
you know, and of course I love bread, love sandwiches. Shout out Jersey
It's
Mike.
amazing. Yeah.
But you just don't need, like, I mean, if you're gonna get carbs, you can get carbs from like potatoes, bananas, rice. I mean, there's better ways to get your carbs. You don't need to be like overdosing yourself on a bunch of damn bread.
Yeah. And the other part about bread, especially the bread that is the grain that is harvested here in America, is that a lot of it is enriched with folic acid, which also contributes to attention disorders. So we now are in a country here where people are obese and people have attention disorders. And instead of fixing what the blatant issue is, I mean, what do you think the odds are, or how many people do you think there are that uh kids in the morning before school that either have Pop Tarts, cereal, bagels, or toast? It's
Oh,
probably 90 to 95%.
or
And then
like
you
the
got to go
the
sit in a
microwave
fucking class and
waffle.
listen. Yeah. And then you have to go sit in a class for 8 hours afterwards after eating that junk and listen to, a teacher yap about whatever the fucking half of the time it's not even about your actual topic. I mean, of course, kids are not engaged,
No,
and the
no,
food
not at
doesn't
all.
help.
I remember when I was in high school, my dad would make me eggs every morning for breakfast. And honestly, like now I look back on that. And of course, when you're a teenager, you don't appreciate some of the
Yeah.
stuff parents do for you. But I look back on that and I appreciate that now. Eggs every morning. And he'd always we would eat a lot of protein, steaks, chicken, pork chops, whatever from the night before. And he'd always chop up some of that like protein and put it in there with the eggs, maybe with a little cheese. And like,
Oh yeah. That sounds
adding
good.
it wasn't the healthiest thing to add the cheese, but as a 16-year-old, it's not going to kill you. And it's like that. Now I look back and it's like that's way better than like eating a big bowl of like Reese's Pieces, like peanut butter cup, whatever, Cocoa Puffs, whatever.
Have you seen the recent studies on oatmeal? How bad oatmeal is for you?
And
It's
that's crazy because like like they push that like a diet food like
I
crazy.
know. I know. We're gonna let's continue to talk about food, but as we do, I'm just gonna pull up something on oatmeal as we continue. I just thought of it. I want to see if I can find it. But the funny thing about cereals and why and we eat so much of it is I think during the Great Depression, that's what a lot of families had to eat because it was cheap. And it's essentially it used to be like little chunks of bread and then you just pour water in it and it turned into what it turned into
Yeah.
now. And now, like a box of cereal, by the way, is like $7 if you want a family size Lucky Charms. I haven't had cereal myself in uh, about 7 years, and that was because I saw Fruity Pebbles about 7 years ago. I was like, all right, let's get some Fruity Pebbles because Fruity
Fruity
Pebbles
Pebbles.
taste good. They taste
Yeah,
good.
and you got to think like if you're putting milk and eating Fruity Pebbles, like that's a dessert. Like all that, I don't know as far as like added sugar in some of these cereals, but like people like I think need to be a little more cognizant of like when they're looking at food labels, it's not just the calories or the protein, but that added sugar is like, I mean, when that's pumped up and that you got to imagine like, and that's just kind of on par with like some of the other breakfast food we eat, like pancakes. Like that's not a breakfast food, that's a dessert.
And they're loaded with the red dye 40s, the yellow sixes. You have every single food color on the face of the earth with all that sugar. And by the way, you're drinking pasteurized milk that also breaks down as sugar inside your body. So you're just eating sugar for breakfast when you have cereal.
Yeah, I mean, the best. I mean, honestly, like steak and eggs, baby. Like a nice, like a good, like lean cut of steak. I mean, I'd love to eat ribeye steaks for every single meal, but like if you're eating more consistently, go with like a sirloin, some eggs. That's good breakfast right there.
So here's a couple of things about oatmeal. Oats are often sprayed with glyphosate, a controversial herbicide during harvest, especially in the non-organic brands. Oat crops carry mycotoxins from mold during storage. In long-term exposure to these compounds have been linked to gut irritation, immune disruption, and possible mood changes in sensitive people. So we were talking about behaviorally, as well
Yeah,
as affecting the stomach. Um, if you have gut issues, I would first of all recommend don't eat oatmeal anymore. Don't eat anything with grain if you have gut issues. By the way, just don't make your gut have to break that down. It says here also that some people with gluten sensitivity, IBS, or leaky gut react to avenin, a protein in oats. This can cause bloating, brain fog, again, brain fog before school, skin flare ups, which can cause mood and focus troubles. So yes, it's I don't even know why oatmeal's on the shelf, honestly.
yeah. Well, and God bless America, but like you think they would have stricter regulations, especially for kids. Like, are we really going to be pumping our growing children, the next generation, full of this garbage? Like, it's ugh, yeah. I mean, that's a whole nother topic, but I mean,
Yeah,
all
it's
all of these foods that are pushed as like health or diet products, marketing schemes and all of that. It's like, I mean, I think the best diet you can eat is like an animal and plant-based diet. Like,
and
that's
some berries. Yep. Yeah.
a lot
Well,
of berries.
you said plant based, my bad. Yeah, exactly. It's stick to what it doesn't have all those additional carbs for one. That's the most important part because you want your body in ketosis and there's a way to do it. And sometimes what happens when somebody does do the keto diet and then they fall off of it, it comes back with a vengeance.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's more of a case of somebody that just doesn't that maybe was locked in and then really fell off the rails because when your body's in ketosis, that makes everything in your body work a little bit harder and that really works on fat burning, and it's also really good for your mood and your overall focus.
For
what's
sure.
what's so controversial about the way that food is now distributed in America to families is we for okay, so in the 90s, at the end of the 90s, we're told, okay, the food pyramid's wrong. It should actually be like upside down. It was something stupid like that, right? And they still
Hmm.
didn't have it right. And we had a health secretary who was like a fucking blob for about 4 years before RFK came in. And now RFK has come in and he's now finally getting the food dyes removed. He removed the COVID vaccine from the childhood
I did see. Yeah.
schedule. He's any shots that have mercury in it, he's removing those shots. Like this is what I voted for. As frustrated as I'm getting about a lot of the Epstein stuff and the Trump administration,
Yeah.
this is actually what I did vote for. And when RFK was running, this is why I was going to be voting for RFK, because I think as big as a crisis as we have around the world with Russia and Ukraine and elite pedophiles running the world, all of our food is poisoned. Let's first, we all eat every single day. Let's focus on the food first. And I think once the food gets better, the moods get better. And the you become more awake when you're more connected with what's going on in front of you, right? And then maybe some of those other issues can begin to maybe solve themselves as soon as America is now healthy again, or is on a track of being healthier, has begin showing a rate of reduced obesity in children year after year. Let's start
Right.
there.
And I mean, it's just like solving any problem, identify the root cause. And once you do that and you rectify that, it can probably solve a lot of other issues. If not, it'll at least definitely help push it in the right direction.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I it's something I'm definitely very passionate about. And just to kind of top off the question about the weight loss journey and where I'm headed, I had made a comment, when you break up, you try to lose weight and you don't know what you're doing it for. At this point, I now know why I'm doing it. I'm doing it for me. And
Right.
that journey for anybody can't really actually get going until they do it for themselves. They're not doing it for to attract the opposite sex or the same sex, depending on which way you swing. It's all about doing it for yourself, and you love yourself and you love your body, so take care of your body and take care of yourself.
Right. And well, it's the one thing in life you probably have the most control over, right? I mean, there's so many different like external variables in your life that you have no control over, like talking about like the FDA, Food and Drug and all that politics. We don't have control over that, but one thing we do have control over is how we treat ourselves, like what you put in your body, exercise, eating right. And those things may seem small, but they can really go a long way. Like I mean, like when you're eating right and you're dialed in with like your exercise, your diet, all of that, I mean, mentally, physically, you're going to feel better across the board.
Yeah, I agree 100%, and I can vouch for that as well. It's been an amazing run thus far, and I'm excited to see where I'm going to be at a year from now.
Yeah, just keep going.
Just keep grinding.
Just keep going. Stay on that path of progression, Jesse. You just
Yeah.
keep going. And then before you know it, and then hey, the day, we're moving soon too, that'll be a free workout right there, moving stuff, get those steps in, a lot of lifting. It's gonna be great.
For anybody watching, I'm helping Gavin and his friend both move, and you guys are moving on the same day, right?
No, so Reed's gonna be moving. I think he said the 25th of August. I'm gonna
Yeah.
be September, like September 15th or that week. It's kind
Okay.
of
Well,
up.
you need to tell me so I can help you. I'll help you out.
Yeah, definitely. I'm pretty sure I don't know what day it is. I'm gonna kind of get some stuff lined up with work and everything, but
Okay.
yeah, no, definitely ready to move on and then get into that new apartment. Celebrating with hot dogs too. While we're talking about healthy food, let's slam a bunch of glizzies.
Yeah, I mean it's important to pick out the right wieners at the grocery store.
It can be tough to pick out the right wieners at the grocery store. There's a lot of different external and there's a lot of variables when you're picking a good glizzy.
I
Like is it all beef?
Yeah.
Is it
I don't want to
what's
be too anti-Semitic, but I do pick out the Hebrew ones, the Hebrew
the
beef dogs. Is that anti-Semitic?
no,
Or is
no,
that
no.
pro? Is that pro-Semitic? Um, yeah.
No, I think we're just eating food. It's not political. We're just eating.
Well, it can be.
Well,
We
I
can
mean,
make it political.
in this day and age, anything's political, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking,
Yeah,
you can't say anything without it being political.
has Reed described the process I use for making a hot dog? Have you heard my
Yeah,
hot
he
dog
gave me a little
recipe?
rundown yesterday,
Okay.
or it was recently. I don't know if it was yesterday, but he was describing it. But for the sake of the viewership and everyone knowing, I think you should describe it because what he was, I mean, it sounded good.
I want to reference, or what's the right word for this? I just want to say before I get into my recipe that we just spent like the first 20 minutes talking about how healthy I am. Let's disregard everything I just said about what I do for my hot dogs.
Life is all about balance, Jesse.
Yeah, right.
It's got to be a 90% good, 10% bad. 90% you're staying strict. You're eating your chicken, veggies, whatever, beef. All the good stuff, the animal and plant based. But sometimes the guy's got to get some Taco Bell, or in this case, maybe a little Blizz.
And maybe if this trend catches on, we could call it like a J Dog or something. We could,
I like
if
J Dog.
if you enjoy it enough, viewers as well. If you try this at home, you enjoy it. Maybe call it a J Dog. That might
Yeah,
be a good idea.
put it on your Snapchat story. Hashtag J Dog.
So let's break this down piece by piece, ingredient by ingredient, because when you can put each ingredient together so elegantly, you can make the flavor taste wonderful. So we're going to start with the bun. Buns are important. We just talked about enriched flour. Try to find yourself some buns that were made at a bakery without enriched flour. Let's start there. There's just a better taste, by the way. That's me personally. It's just like a sandwich. You need good bread for a
It's the
sandwich.
foundation of what you're eating. It's got
It's
to
the
be good.
foundation of what you're eating. That's exactly right. It's the bread and the cake, like frosting can be good, but it's the cherry on top, so to speak. It's the foundation of the snack is the bun. So you got to start with the bun. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your bun, and then you're going to get a little block of cheese, and you're going to shred the cheese because you don't get the pre-shredded cheese because it's got wax and a bunch of other shit in it. So you shred your cheese, and then you sprinkle it inside the bun. So you've already made your slit in the hot dog bun. Let's see for the viewers. There we go. In the hot dog bun, you're sprinkling your cheese inside the bun. So here I'm holding my hot dog right now with cheese inside the bun. Now I turn on the fire grill. Can be propane, can be charcoal. It's all in preference, but you need some flames. You want to cook it over fire. You throw your weenies, your anti-Semitic weenies on the grill. You char them a little bit, and then you're gonna take your hot dog bun. And by the way, I'm still holding upright, and then you're gonna put it face down on the grill. So now the cheese kind of like sticks to the bread if you really push it in there. And now the lines on the grill begin developing these nice little lines on your bun. And the little pieces, fragments of cheese that start to fall out of that crevice then begin getting crusty with the bun itself. And then the main pocket of the bun gets nice little gooey cheese. So now you got your weenies charring, you got some nice grill marks on your weenies. You're in the meantime, you're mincing up an onion. And when I say mincing up an onion, you need to follow the protocol of a minced onion. It's got to be just like these little sand pebbles. You don't want big chunks. That's lazy. Take your time, mince your onions correctly. Sprinkle your little minced. So you're gonna take your bun once it's ready. You're gonna see the grill marks on it. You're gonna have the gooey cheese in the center, and then you're gonna have the crusty cheese kind of crusted onto the tip of the bun, on the tops of the bun, and then you're gonna sprinkle your onions in there, and then once your weenies are done, throw the weenie on top, and then one straight line of mustard. That's it, and that's a J Dog.
Jesus Christ, that sounds good. See, man, my idea of a hot dog is so much more simple. You buy that sounds like a delicacy because like I would be happy with you buy the cheapest buns, like some fun dogs over the fire, and you just douche that thing with ketchup, mustard, and relish. But yours sounds way better.
I've walked away from ketchup. I there's just so much sugar in it,
Oh God, yeah.
and I don't love it. So I've walked away, and I've never liked hot dogs, by the way. And one day, maybe like 6 or 7 months ago, my son wanted some, and I was thinking, well, let me try something. And it just kind of became a thing. And now, like almost every weekend, my son's like, "Can you make those?" And I have to kind of space it out a little bit, but he goes fucking crazy for them.
Well, I don't blame him. I'd do the same thing if you were making them for me.
That's like the equivalent of your dad making those eggs for you for breakfast, right?
Yeah, nothing better, nothing better.
Oh yeah, how nostalgic for you to hear that. Uh, but yeah, so that's the J Dog, and I'm excited to share it with you guys. And anybody listening, please give it a shot and let me know what you think in the comment section or on my Instagram. I'd love to hear about it.
Because it's not a
Send some
hot dog.
pictures. Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh man, that does sound good. I could go for a couple hot dogs right now.
Yeah. So you were telling me that you were kind of curious or you wanted to hear what my thoughts were on best basketball players of all time.
Yes, yes. Because I was going to bed like the other night, and it was like no specific order. We don't have to do a LeBron and Jordan debate. That's a whole thing, but we
Yeah.
can we can get into the weeds. I'm down to do it. But it was
Yeah.
like really controversial list. Like, it was like these two guys going back and forth about who they thought the best basketball players were of all time. Now I have my thoughts and ideas behind this. It's just always interesting to see people's ball knowledge, and kind of like test that a little bit and see like, hey, like who do you think's the best?
Okay. Um, well, as far as like the LeBron Jordan debate goes, I wasn't present for the Jordan era. I was still growing up. And by the time I was old enough to start watching basketball, Jordan had retired. So all I can go off of is the stats and uh the championships that Jordan won. And then there's the controversies of Jordan getting bounced in the first round for like the first like 4 seasons and then he figured it out. But and I think actually Ant's on a similar trajectory personally. Maybe a little bit higher trajectory, honestly, actually.
I mean, Ant's a dog. I'm absolute dog. I think if the Timberwolves can get a few things figured out, yeah, dude. Ant's it's been really, because growing up watching the Timberwolves was like when I was like really young, they had Garnett, right? Garnett, shout
Mhm.
out Garnett. They had like Wally Zerbiak. That was a great team. But then of course the post Garnett era was when I was like peak in my bat. Like that's middle school, like late
Yeah.
elementary, middle, early high school, and they just were dog ass, dude. They sucked. And now it's finally nice to see them kind of turning it around.
I've been a diehard Wolves fan since KG left. So yeah, I've been through it. I've watched 15 win seasons. I've watched 17 win seasons.
Oh.
I watched Ricky Rubio become a sensation and then tear his ACL and then never be the same again.
And speaking of that draft, Johnny Flynn, Ricky Rubio, who
Steph
was the
Curry.
next point guard in that draft?
Steph Curry.
Yeah, good one.
How about Shabazz Muhammad? You know who went after Shabazz Muhammad, right?
Oh, he's from UCLA, right? Yeah, Shabazz.
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah.
You know who
No.
went right after?
Hmm.
The pick right after Shabazz?
Shabazz. Okay, because he was like, was he lottery? It was like a mid
13.
first,
He's 13.
13. Yeah, I thought it was, yeah.
So who was
No.
14?
Okay, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. Okay, what year was this?
2014, I want to say. I don't remember who the first pick.
Giannis.
It was Giannis.
Giannis. Yeah. God damn it.
That's
Well,
that's crazy. The
and
Steph Curry one's bad because two guys in
get
front of
back to back
Curry.
picks, top 10, like in the top five. Like we had the four, it was like either 4 or 5 or 5 6. And like Johnny Flynn was like a dud, and Ricky Rubio made a decent career, but like, I mean,
Curry
come
didn't
on.
want to be here. I don't know if Curry would have been Curry without Kerr. Also, because
And
Curry wasn't Curry until Kerr came. By the way,
having Clay Thompson too, and like Draymond. I mean, it was a
yeah,
holistic approach. They had a great team. It was a dynasty.
and
He would have been great, but not what he maybe is now.
and we'll get into this about greatest player of our era because I think it's an honest debate between Curry and LeBron personally, but I don't. This organization was such a dumpster fire through the Curry years, even through Giannis's first part of his career. I don't know how those players would have turned out. Honestly, I don't.
That's
Uh,
a good.
the overall development. I mean, this is a cliche, but it takes a village to raise a child,
That's
and
true.
I don't know how the Timberwolves Glenn Taylor village would have handled a Steph Curry, who by the way didn't want to be there, and then a Giannis who was assimilating from a different country.
And Giannis was a project too. It took him a couple of years to get into. I mean, now Giannis is a generational talent, once in a lifetime kind of guy. But it took him a few years to get to where he was at. It wasn't like it just happened overnight. So the development, with the Bucks, it definitely had to play a part. And then they got a ring out of it. So shout out to them.
So all that stings. However, if you get in either of those players, by the way, Edwards never becomes a Timberwolf.
That's true, yeah, because it would have totally changed the trajectory of our franchise, making the playoffs, not getting the lotto picks. And
And
I
then
think Anthony Edwards is the answer to a lot of things. He's a franchise guy. He just has like that dog in him too, where he can lead a team and he's willing to take that on and take over games. And I mean, he's so good.
he's legitimately my favorite Minnesota athlete of all time over Adrian Peterson. I saw the end of Randy Moss. I'm trying to think of any other superstar. Johan Santana.
Oh,
Um,
Joe
I
Mauer.
Joe Ma, Anthony Edwards is my guy. He's 100% my guy. He's been my guy since not draft night because honestly, on draft night I wanted James Wiseman. Um,
No, we made the right decision that time.
yes, 100, and no LaMelo Ball either, who is a good player but doesn't win games. He just puts up
He's
numbers
injured a
and
lot too.
and
He's got a
wears
lot of.
like stupidly baggy clothes.
Yeah, he's a great player, but like the Hornets are just they're trash.
So I getting over to what you're asking me about when it comes to greatest player of my generation. I would say honestly, it would be Steph Curry. Now, it
Fair.
may that may seem like an extreme take, but hear me out. Steph Curry's been on the same team the whole entire time. Steph Curry has been the guy for that team this entire time. And yes, they did build around Curry and Clay came around. By the way, Clay was a lottery pick. They had KD for like 2 years, which was overpowered, no doubt. But
Best team.
they never had a big center. They had Andrew Bogut for a lot of years, who was never great.
Mm-hmm.
And Draymond Green always played a really good role. But Curry has won how many championships? Is it five, 4 or 5
I
championships?
believe it's four. Because yeah, he won. It was yeah, I believe it's four.
And he has the winningest team of all time with the 73 win Warriors.
That's
And here's the nail in the coffin in my eyes. He changed the entire league. Randy Moss changed the entire league in the NFL with one-handed catches, going deep, the deep ball, right? Everybody
yeah.
wanted to be like Randy Moss. Everybody wants to be like Steph Curry, just like everyone wanted to be like Jordan. Everyone wants to shoot threes, and everybody wants to take those threes where they're off of their back foot and they swish every time. Like if you go and watch, like 12-year-old AAU basketball, they're all just
Oh,
jacking up
those
threes
they're
like they're
they're just
Curry.
chucking up threes, half court shots, just like Steph. Yeah,
And
that's a good point. He really has changed the game, and ever since like yeah, probably like 2013, 14, 15, like definitely has changed the game. Now you see teams who have to like 3-and-D players that became really popular. Like people just need shooting on their teams because if you got a guy like Steph Curry making 3-pointers all the time, you're gonna have to combat that with more 3-pointers on your end.
yeah, it created the Houston Rockets that took like 53s a game at one time when they had Harden and
That,
Chris Paul.
that's yeah. Mike D'Antoni ran that like 7-second offense with James Harden where they were just yucking shots, man.
Yeah, that was a fun time in basketball. I know there was a controversy this season that the three-pointer is too prevalent now, and maybe what was it again? We're gonna take away the corner threes or something like that. It's like knock it off. Don't change it. It's part of the game. Like let teams figure out how to combat it. I actually was saying to
Press, like
yeah, I mean you just have to adjust to the game. Don't change certain rules because maybe players have figured out how to cheat code it. If anything,
right.
that's a credit to the players and the
Well, and it's
coaches.
not so much a grit and grind. Like in the '90s, like Jordan's Bulls, the Bad Boys Pistons. It was a grit and grind. They beat the shit out of each other. They were driving the mid range was a huge deal, but it's just like, well, the game progresses. And it's not as much of that anymore. There's a lot more shooting. People are the players are more athletic now, like more than ever.
Yeah, it's crazy. When you look at an NBA player, they're automatically just jacked.
Yeah, and
It's
they can jump
insane.
out of the gym too.
Yeah. Yeah, that wasn't something you saw a whole lot of even in the early 2010s. I mean, you had guys like Alexei Shved on the Minnesota Timberwolves who was just like this giant dough
Dude,
ball.
what a pull! What an Alexei Shved, dude! What a pull! Yeah, he was on our team in the deepest parts of our bullshit. I mean, Alexi Shved. Oh my god.
Yeah, let's play a little game here. I'm gonna pull up the 2012 Minnesota Timberwolves,
Okay.
and I want you to see how many players you can name from that roster. I'll give you some hints.
Okay. Right off the bat.
So before you go any further, I'll just gonna tell you their record. They went 26-40, and
Okay.
this is when Rick Adelman was the coach.
And this is the 2012-2013 season or 2011?
Correct.
Okay.
2012, 2013.
All right. Al Jefferson.
Nope.
Al Jefferson.
I'll give you three wrong, so then we'll go over it together.
Luke Ridnour.
Nope.
Damn.
I'll give you one guy, and this will kind of maybe help you
Okay.
further along. They had Kevin Love.
Oh, yeah. All right.
And you, by the way, Luke Ridnour is on there. I just saw his name. I'm sorry. You did
Okay.
get Luke Ridnour. Yep.
Okay. So if Luke Ridnour's on there, then Johnny Flynn.
No Johnny Flynn.
It's just.
I
Oh
think
man.
Flynn was 07 through 09.
Well, Rubio would have still been on the team around. Nope.
Rubio. Yep.
Rubio.
Yep.
Yeah, because I remember they drafted him. He spent a few years overseas.
Mhm.
This is tougher than I thought it would be. Okay, now I'm thinking center Darko Milicic. Sure, Milicic.
Yes, Darko Milicic, who kept his money in his mattress.
Yeah. Would Nikola Pekovic be on there?
Nikola Pekovic is on the team. That was year one for Nikola Pekovic.
Okay.
Think
Now,
about those two centers. You had Milicic and Pekovic banging inside.
yeah. No wonder we sucked. Okay,
There,
now I'm
there, there's a player on the team that went and the second pick after Kyrie Irving.
why am I blanking? Why I'm totally blanking. Was Kevin Martin on this team?
Kevin Martin. That's a good guess, and I think that was the following season. Kevin Martin, I think, joined in 2013 because this was kind of the beginning of the rise of what they were building.
Derek Williams.
Derek Williams, there it is.
That's
There's
after
another
Kyrie.
there's another player on this team that was the second pick to Derrick Rose.
Oh,
He likes weed. He likes to smoke a lot of weed. He played in
yeah.
China. He's put up like
OJ
35 a game.
Mayo.
No, no, no,
Oh, no,
no.
I thought no, because
He
he
put
was
up
a
like
little.
35 a game in China.
Why am I not getting
He's
this?
in the big three right now.
Oh,
A lot of tats, tons of tats.
Michael Beasley.
Michael Beasley. All right. Next one. I think this was his first year with the team. He was a backup point guard. Teeny tiny point guard.
Teeny tiny.
I mean, he was tiny, and he always seemed to drive to the hoop and just get swatted.
Teeny tiny point guard. 2013 or 2012, 2013 Timberwolves. Tiny point guard. Clearly wasn't very good. Tiny point guard. Man, I'm drawing a blank on this. What are his initials?
He played with the Mavericks. He won a
Oh,
championship with the Mavericks.
JJ Barea.
JJ Barea. There it is. I'll give you one more player to guess. I'll give you a couple hints. He was the fourth overall pick. It was David Kahn's first draft pick as a GM. He was the fourth overall pick. He went to Syracuse. He came from Syracuse. He was a
Wesley Johnson.
Wesley Johnson, one pick before DeMarcus Cousins.
God. Yeah, Wesley Johnson. Jesus. All right.
I'll run down the rest of this list for you because some of these I wouldn't even get. I don't think so. Yeah, I'm just going alphabetical order. JJ Barea, Michael Beasley, Wayne Ellington, Wesley Johnson, Malcolm Lee, rookie year, Kevin Love. Kevin Love, by the way, listed at 6'8". I think when he came in the league, he was listed at like 6'11". Darko Milicic, Brad Miller, who was a 13-year center at that point.
Yeah, dang.
Nikola Pekovic. I liked this guy when he came to the team a lot. Anthony Randolph.
Yeah. Okay.
He had a
Now
decent run when he
it's all
started.
starting to come back because I
Yeah.
played 2K a lot at that time. Now it's starting to come back. All these guys playing with him on 2K.
Yeah. Luke Ridnour, Ricky Rubio, Anthony Tolliver,
Damn.
Martell Webster, and Derek Williams. Looking back at this roster, it's not it's not a terrible roster. It's not a 15 win team roster. They won 26 games
No,
that season, but
no, they're like I mean, they're a 10, 11, 12 seed. I mean, they're not great. But Kevin Love, I mean, when he played for the Timberwolves, I mean, he was really good. We just had a bad team, nothing around him, but he was really good. He was
he
like a
was a
double double. Yeah.
stat stuffer. I mean, just loved to rebound and put it back
Yeah.
until he started taking threes. But yeah, I remember really enjoying watching Pekovic and Kevin Love down low. That was a lot of fun.
Pekovic was a brick wall, man.
Have you seen Pekovic's life at this point?
Mm-mm.
He's a mob boss now.
Well, he kind of gave, I mean, yeah, he kind of does look like one too, doesn't he? I mean, it only makes sense post NBA life. You know, you got to keep raking in the money. Why not?
Yeah, he's like this prominent gangster in Russia now. Like top of the top gangster. No, I'm not kidding either. Like he's like one of like the number one drug distributors in Russia. Like he's like the godfather of the mafia in Russia.
All right, that's kind of dope.
Here. Yeah, here or actually Montenegro here. This was from April of 2025. Multiple reports indicate that Nikola Pekovic, former NBA player for the Minnesota Timberwolves, has reportedly been tied to an organized crime organization in Montenegro. Authorities are said to have connected him to a criminal group identified as the Saric Brothers, criminal group known for drug trafficking. These reports state that an armored vehicle registered in Pekovic's name was temporarily seized during a police investigation that resulted in arrests and misdemeanor charges. During the vehicle search, police recovered illegally possessed firearms, military technology, marijuana, opiates. It's important to note that the extent of Pekovic's involvement, whether further action will be taken, remains unclear as of April 2025. He is reportedly believed to be involved in drug smuggling, with one of his mafia soldiers being prosecuted. An employee of the Serbian Ministry of the Interior was also caught in the car, which could indicate Pekovic's connection to the government. It's important to note that Pekovic has been connected to the underworld figures, particularly Montenegrin drug lord Darko Saric. Remember that name, by the way? You know that name.
Yeah,
Darko,
Darko.
yeah. Pekovic has been reported to have business investments with the Saric brothers in Serbia and Montenegro. And in 2018, Pekovic reportedly took 1.1 million euro debt from the Saric brothers. Some reports have even labeled him as Nikola the Godfather Pekovic. So,
Dude,
yeah, fucking nuts.
shout out to Pekovic, man.
I at in my early 20s, maybe like my late teens, I kind of had done a run of raves. And this was during the time Pekovic was on the Wolves. And we saw Pekovic at a rave, like a rave like that had like ecstasy and all that shit, you know.
Mhm.
And I never thought a whole lot of it when I saw him at the rave. I'm thinking, oh man, he's at a party or whatever. But now I'm thinking like he probably distributed everything that was there.
That's crazy too, because I know that when he probably first came in, late round or undrafted or whatever, but I want to say there was a point where he was a really solid center. So I think he signed a decent contract. So you think
Yeah, he got a
all
big.
those millions of dollars, he could have just went and lived the beach life forever. But this guy, the hustle's in his veins, man. He's got hustle in his blood.
So tell me, would you rather be considered the godfather of Montenegro or would you rather be an NBA player? Which would you pick?
I'd rather be an NBA player.
He got a 5 year, $60 million salary.
Yeah, dude, what's he doing?
So in 2013.
I was gonna say, yeah, because that would have been around the time where he was kind of starting to break out and become more prominent, like a prominent starting center. Because like Milicic, Darko Milicic, I mean, he was a total bust. I mean, he never
Oh
had like a great season. I mean, he was
yeah, he was not good.
that's
Not good at
crazy.
all. Yes. Let's see. So I had one other thing I wanted to bring up with you if we're done with the basketball talk for now. My answer to what you were asking me is Steph Curry. Um,
Valid.
Thinking back, if I wanted to draft a team with a player in their prime, I think I would take Steph Curry.
Couldn't, yeah, you really couldn't go wrong there.
You can't go wrong. He's a winner. He's a team player. no drama. There's never been drama with Steph Curry ever.
Dude just balls.
He does, and that's all he cares about is balling. So I had this conversation with a friend last week, and I haven't talked about it on the podcast at all, but wanted to kind of talk about it a little bit and get your thoughts on it. Have you ever dug deep into like sound healing or frequencies?
No, really not too much with that. No. I mean, I've like heard about it and everything, but I've never like done a ton of research on my own.
Have you seen the conspiracy theory videos online of the purpose of the world wars was to destroy a lot of what was built, and a lot of things that were built were maybe like some churches with certain types of bells in them, and like you had big city bells. Like if you look at like the Tartarian conspiracy theory, it's all the buildings that had exceptional craftsmanship at another period in our life that none of us seem to have any actual documented history about. Have you ever dug into Tartaria?
No, not too much. No.
So I had this thought the other day when I was looking into sound healing, and I believe a previous civilization, either on this earth or maybe outside the ice wall, I don't know, um, had the ability to build things with sound, like the pyramids. I believe the pyramids were built with some sort of frequency as well, as far as moving those 1.5 million ton perfectly cut bricks to all be aligned perfectly. And it made me think, why do people go to church? Why have we been conditioned to go to church? Well, we go to church to make ourselves feel better. We go to church to have that relationship with God. We go to church because our intention of going to church is to connect spiritually, right? But I thought a lot about this, and I did look it up, and I think the whole idea of church has been hijacked to this point. And what I mean by that is I believe maybe the purpose of church hundreds of years ago, maybe even 1,000 years ago, wasn't to sit in a pew and listen to a guy talk and feed you a little piece of bread and give you some wine, and then you go home and everybody wears their weird robes. It's like a cosplay, right?
Yeah, kind of.
What if going to church at one point was to actually go heal? And I've read that there's certain bells with certain frequencies that can heal the body. And if you go to some really, really old churches that are still standing that have certain bells in them, the windows, they don't have a permanent or an imprint that you can physically see, but you'll see by the way dust lands on the windows that there is some sort of wave or frequency that has embedded itself into the window, which would then tell me that maybe what church was for actually healing, instead of listening to a priest give their interpretation of what the Bible really means.
That would make sense. Yeah, I guess it's tough to say, that far back, but it does seem like nowadays there's a lot of different religions and a lot of different reasons people go, but I guess yeah, with the vibrations, that would be kind of cool to see something like that. It's just like if you like with certain vibrations, like if you do put sand like on a plate and with certain like frequencies or vibrations. Have you ever seen that where it'll create like certain shapes? It's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, and I I attribute a lot of the thinking to some deeper meditation I've been doing about like our past history as humans, like what life was like. And I I don't want to believe, as a person that has is now fully invested into God, I don't want to believe that God would really want us to go to a church to listen to a guy, a, a man, or most often a man who touches little boys, to give us his opinion on what the interpretation of a Bible is. I just don't believe that. I feel like religion has been hijacked by like the Catholic Church, by certain Christian communities, by you know certain Muslim religions, Buddhist religions. Like all of it has been kind of hijacked in a way to spew their story rather than actually making that real connection of God, because it's so easy to form like a cult, and you have so much power when you do it. who holds that priest or that person in charge of that community accountable for telling
That's
the
a
right
good
story?
point. That's a good point with and kind of to build off your point with all the different religions. Like I remember being in a world history class, like Buddhism, Judaism, Christianity, Catholicism. You learn about, or Islam, you learn about all these different religions, and they all have their own interpretation, and it's kind of tough to differentiate, and of course everyone's entitled to their own beliefs and whatever they feel is right, but it's tough to differentiate, like, well, like who is right? Like, because each one of these have their own interpretation of what's right and what's wrong, and it kind of all seems to stem from the same roots, but thousands of years down the road it feels like there's, even like with Catholicism or Christianity, there's so many branches of each kind of major form of religion, so it's like, well, what's right, what's wrong? Like it kind of does seem like it's spiraled maybe a little bit more than it would have thousands of years ago.
I feel like the Bible too, like there was a whole different type of language that was spoken at the time that the Bible was written. I feel a lot of things have been lost in translation along the way.
Oh, for sure.
And I know that they say that like King James Bible is the most accurate. But again, who's to really know?
Yeah, how would, I mean, like none of us really for sure know
It,
exactly like what is like correct or what's incorrect. I mean, it's kind of, and that's kind of when you have to do your own research and kind of make an educated decision on that. But there's so much information, especially on the topic of religion, because it's been such a relevant part of humanity since the beginning.
yeah, here's a controversial statement, and I I will hold this. I will die on this hill, and maybe it's not necessarily meant to be a negative or derogatory or sacrilegious statement, but I'm just going to say it. Jesus was the best cult leader of all time. We still
Oh,
talk about we talk about Jesus to this day. And by the
100%.
way, all of us that there's a all Christians look at Jesus as, when people say I'm praying, they say I'm praying to Jesus. They don't say I'm praying to God. I'm praying to Jesus. And Jesus, as the story goes, is the Son of God. That's what he was able to make a community of people think. And that's what's written in documented stories and Bible stories, that he is the Son of God. I'm not saying that he isn't. I'm just saying he left his stamp on humanity for thousands of years after him being here.
Oh, for sure. And if you Google like most famous people in history, the top person on every single list you'll probably find is Jesus Christ.
And Donald Trump second.
A very close second.
Yeah. Yeah. So I as a person that I firmly believe that I did, like meet God in Costa Rica, and I've developed this relationship with God. I I feel like I'm able to more freely speak on my opinion about where religion stands, and maybe the story of Jesus, to think a little bit critically of it and question it a little bit. And
Well, and I think
again,
that's got to question everything. That's kind of part of having constructive conversations is question everything, and being held accountable, questioning everything. That's how you learn. That's how we grow.
but the way that they'll get you is, well, no, you have to have faith. You're not supposed to question it. You're missing your faith. And it's like, well, my
But
faith isn't in Jesus. My
but
faith
can't
is
you
in
have
God.
can't you have faith in something still, but still question it? Because I mean, I feel like there's a little give and take there. I mean, of course, some people there might not be, but I feel like you can still have faith in whatever you might believe in, but it's still okay to question it. Like not human curiosity. I mean, we're always going to question things, right? Whether it's religion, politics. I mean, it's important to question everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, to anybody listening, I don't mean to offend anybody. I think it's a good conversation to have, because I don't think it's a conversation many people do actually have.
Well, no, I don't think because I think a lot of people might stray away from hard conversations or hard topics to talk about, but people can have differences in opinion. But at the end of the day, we can all share mutual respect for each other.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you have a belief, like that's okay. Like, here's what I think, and then you sit down, you have a beer
You have a beer.
and a,
Well,
and a J Dog.
and a J Dog. You need a J Dog. You need at least two. That's Kurt's order. Two J Dogs and an O'Doul's, an alcoholic less beer. I'm
Nice.
just kidding. No, he just has a cup of water or milk or something, but
Maybe a juice box on a special day.
juice box on a special day. Yeah. So anyways, what kind of beer are you having if you sit down with a J Dog?
If I sit down with a J Dog, I'm probably having a White Claw Surge.
White Claw Surge.
They're like what it's regular White Claw, but they have more alcohol in them.
Are you not a beer guy?
I do enjoy beer. For me, I can have like a couple,
Yeah.
like a casual, like, hey, let's sit down, let's BS, shoot the shit, have a couple beers. I like Blue Moon.
Yeah.
Put an orange on that thing, come if it's coming out of the tap. I do like Modelo's. I like Coronas.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm gonna be too picky.
Yeah, I like to have a Modelo every now and again. Very rare, but occasionally. I think I had one 2 weeks ago. That was really good.
It is good. I mean,
Yeah.
especially like on a hot day, a cold beer. I mean, you really can't beat that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the American thing, having a beer and a hot dog on a summer day. Like that's like the 4th of July activity right there.
Yeah. And then we can talk about if Jesus is a cult leader or really the son of God.
Well, I mean, depending on who you're sitting around the fire with, you can talk about whatever you want to.
That might be a topic we'll have to dive a little bit deeper into after we move.
I think so. Yeah,
That'd
I
be kind of
think it'll
fun.
be when we're standing up on that sky deck and we're grilling those dogs with a couple brewskis. I think you, Reed, and I can get into the weeds with a lot of different topics,
Have you ever dug into Atlantis at all?
like the under or like the underwater
The
city.
lost city of Atlantis?
Lost City. Not a ton. I mean, I've watched like random YouTube, but like if you're back when I was like 19 or 20, we would watch YouTube videos and we would just be high off our ass, and that would probably be a video we'd watch. But
Yeah.
I know a little bit about it.
Have you ever dug into the Rashad structures?
Mm-mm.
I'm gonna share my screen here in just a sec. So Jimmy Corsetti, who is a YouTuber, he does a lot of like ancient history stuff. He reports on a lot of like what Pluto or Plato had shared. He was on Rogan about a year ago, year and a half ago, and when he came on, I really, really was intrigued with what he was sharing. And one of the things that he was talking about was the uh, the lost city of Atlantis, and something that astronauts can see from space is something called a Rashad structure. So I'm going to share my screen and show you this, and then I will then begin explaining to you why I've even brought this up.
All right.
And I'm gonna do one of these and that and share. Okay, so right here, if you can see my mouse, this is a Rashad structure. There's like six.
Oh, okay. I feel like I have seen those before for sure. Yeah.
There's like 6 or 7 of them, right? And um, and this is what the lost city of Atlantis was theorized to have looked like in the circles. So
Oh,
where this is, where all these Rashad structures are, is they're in a place called Mauritania, which is like East Africa, right? And here we'll stop the share. And it said that the leader, like one of the emperors or leader of the empire of Atlantis, or not Atlantis, but Mauritania, was uh, a leader named Massa Musa, who is technically the richest emperor of all time. He had the most gold compared to anybody else in the world. He held what today would be like $500 trillion or something stupid like that.
I have heard the Niamasa Musa before. I've heard that come up.
Yeah, and what's really interesting about it is if you look at the map of Africa from where Mauritania is over to like I think it's like Senegal, and then you have the Sahara Desert, and then you have let's see, is that the Pacific Ocean on that right side of Africa, or is the Atlantic? I'm
If you're looking at like a map
yeah,
or like a world map, on the
yeah.
right side, would that be, oh man, I know on the left side between like Africa and the States, it would be the Atlantic. But then on
Okay,
the
so
right
it
side,
must be
wouldn't
the
that be the Indian Ocean more or less? If it's kind of,
here. Let's just make sure. Well, anyways, that's an unimportant detail. We'll just leave the names out of the oceans out for now. Across Africa is what you would call the Trans-Saharan Way, and there was a cataclysmic event that had caused. And remember, at one time, Africa was all lush and green until it became a
Mhm.
desert. But the Trans-Saharan Way, which began from Mauritania all the way over to Egypt, right here, like this pocket, which is now the Sahara Desert, is there are massive salt deposits throughout all of the Sahara, and the Sahara has only been excavated less than 1%. We've never actually done any research in the Sahara or have ever studied the Trans-Saharan Way. So when they say the lost city of Atlantis, when this cataclysmic event had happened, water, whatever it was from the meteor, whatever had caused it, the water had gone from one side of the ocean all the way over to the other side of the ocean, creating this massive, massive river that then fed Lake Chad, which would be bigger than all the Great Lakes combined if it wasn't dry. And when they say the lost city of Atlantis, this was the city before the cataclysmic event that sunk it. And the
Okay,
Rashad structures are the evidence of the
that is
circles,
existed.
and they're all like perfectly spaced. I mean, if I've ever seen any kind of evidence of Atlantis being real, I think that's like the closest thing that I could find. I hope I
It would
explained that well enough. I little
for sure. It would be so interesting to see if they did some more excavation in the desert over there, like to just see what's under there. Because you got to think like all of like like the continents over time have shifted, the land masses they've changed, like just to see what's under there. I feel like it could help us really do a deeper dive into like our origins and just like what happened thousands and thousands of years ago. That would be really interesting. Of course, it'd be billions of dollars, but
well, and archaeology has kind of become like this gatekeeper for information. And anytime that you try to mention anything, the archaeology community gets extremely upset and then begins calling you racist and all these different like gaslit names. Did you ever watch that archaeologist Flint Dibble? You
mm-mm,
ever heard of him?
no.
He had made a so Graham Hancock, who is somebody who loves studying world civilizations, like he has a Netflix show called Apocalyptic Events or the Apocalypse. It's something like that. It's on Netflix. He talks about what is it, Göbekli Tepe, and he had mentioned something about the previous civilization that was there. Anyways, the archaeologists caught wind of it and they were like, "You're racist. They weren't white when they were there. They were brown," and they tried to shut down the whole entire documentary because he was spreading misinformation. The whole archaeology community won't even dig into the Sahara. It's like this gatekeeper of information. And, archaeologists have the special deal with the Smithsonian, which I've gotten into before about how this, I believe, Smithsonian may have actually created dinosaurs and they have never actually existed. Going back all the way over to Atlantis again, it doesn't make sense why we haven't excavated that part of the world.
Why not? I mean, it seems like everywhere, anywhere else, they're excavating it, and finding out whatever. I mean, think about the billions and if not trillions of dollars we spend on things we don't necessarily need. Imagine if we dedicated just a fraction of that kind of budget into taking a deeper dive into our history and like kind of excavating that desert. I mean, it'd be so interesting to see what they could find. And I feel like a lot of different countries would come together and try to fund a project like that. But of course, trying to get multiple countries to be cohesive and actually plan something like that sounds like a political nightmare. But
The only time they do it is when they tell you that you can't step foot on Antarctica.
yeah,
That's the only time they can agree on anything,
pretty much.
which is also nuts.
And even that's a whole nother thing. Imagine like because they talk about the miles and miles and miles of like how like because all it is this big piece of ice. Like imagine what's under that.
Well, and when you look at the ice walls are like 200 feet tall.
Yeah.
They're massive. And it seems like at any point that you get to the ocean, there's just an ice wall finally. And it's just all the way around in a circle or a globe, whatever you want to call it. Not saying the earth is flat. That's not what I'm saying. I'm like 35% on the earth being flat. I'm 65% that the earth isn't flat. Or I would say yeah, I think 45% of me believes it's a globe. 30% of me believes it's flat. And then that remaining 25%, I'm not going to rule out the hollow earth theory if you've ever studied or heard Admiral Byrd's diary, or if you know anything about Admiral Byrd.
I know a little bit about the Hollow Earth thing just because of when I've watched like King Kong. Kind
Oh, yeah.
of
King Kong talks about hollow earth, huh?
Well, because like in the newer King Kongs, like that's where he's from. You know, like Hollow
Oh,
Earth. It's like almost like a portal he goes through, and it's like in the center of the planet, and that's where King Kong comes from.
well, that makes sense.
At least in the newer ones. I don't know in the older ones, but like yeah, in the newer ones, that's kind of how it goes.
Admiral Byrd was a pilot for the U.S. Air Force, or he held some sort of position. And after World War II, he was given an assignment to say, there's something going on at the North and the South Pole, something to do with Nazis. We want you to go check it out. And as he flew over the ice walls, the weather changed from negative temperatures to all of a sudden 70-degree, lush, green land. The snow and the ice was gone. And before he knew it, he there were other planes alongside of his crew of planes that were then directing him to go to a certain space, which was like a hole into the ground, which was a whole nother civilization. And in his diary, he was asking this person escorted Admiral Byrd out of his plane, and they had begun asking him about why are people on Earth hitting other countries or killing each other with nuclear weapons, because around that time was when the UFO sightings had begun a ton over the White House.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's part of his diary. And he tells the story about it. And basically they let him go back, and he goes back to tell the story, and then he's labeled as this crazy person. And what else is kind of nuts about it is I've really dug in to see like the legitimacy of the diary. And they
Mm-hmm.
say like his son made it and his son made it up. So who knows if it's really true, but that had given me a little glimmer of, oh, maybe the earth is hollow, because I don't feel like we're alone. And I feel like we are being lied to about something. Like,
Yeah, oh, 100%. I mean, imagine the amount of information the government withholds from us. Like, I agree with the not being, and like, if you think about like the universe in its entirety, like whether, we can't be alone. There's got to be some other semblance of life out there, whatever it might be, whether it's here, whether it's, millions of light years away, you got to think we're not alone.
yeah. And I feel crazy sometimes when I dig way too deep into it. And I had gotten way too deep into it about 2.5 years ago, and it had made me miserable. So I have now detached myself from it.
Fair
However, I
enough.
can't really tell the stories as well as I used to be able to, because that was like what had consumed my life for a few years.
Well, sometimes if you get, you start reading about something, if it piques your interest, you go down the rabbit hole. I've done that plenty of times at night, where you just get on like a random topic. Like for a while, it was like for me, like I was just obsessed with the universe, the solar system, the Milky Way, and like just different planets and that's kind of what got me thinking about there's no way we can be alone in this. Like they say, like however many light years the universe is big and it's continuously expanding faster than the speed of light. It's like you got to think something else has got to be out there.
I just don't know how we're at this point where like we have people that have YouTube channels that go into the Congo as content. They have 4 or 5 million followers, and they're these extreme people. Yet we've never had anybody like go to Antarctica and just try.
Right. And and obviously it takes a lot more diligence and planning just with the how the weather is cold, whatever, you got to plan for it. But you would think with all the content creators and these people doing, like you said, these extreme things, someone would have done it by now. Like, hey,
Yeah, we have the tech to handle it at this point. I mean, if
100%.
somebody has enough funds to do it, let's explore all of Antarctica then. If the if the world if you're not hiding it from us, and these 200-foot ice walls along the ocean are just ice walls, then let's explore Antarctica. Let's do it. Let's have some extreme content creator that gets a couple million for each video. Let's have Mr. Beast do it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, you'd get, I mean, hundreds of millions of views, if not billions, on something like that. And isn't it kind of crazy to think too, we talk about like exploring the universe, going to other planets. Obviously, I know a big thing with, Musk building his rockets is, one day, down the road going to Mars, like checking that out a little bit more, getting people to colonize it. Well, it's like, it's crazy that they want to do that, but we haven't even fully explored our own planet yet. Of
Yeah, the
course, it's
whole
always good to be thinking about that, because that's how we'll survive as a civilization when the sun becomes a red giant and like burns our planet to a crisp. But like, we got billions of years still. So like it's like let's explore this planet, develop an understanding of who we are and
Well, and also
held from us.
there may be a portal here on our Earth that could bring us to another planet. They talk a lot about how, like 70% of the ocean hasn't been explored. There's this one guy that has this video of him talking about cruising along like the bottom of the ocean in a submarine, and he hits like this lake and he starts bouncing off this lake in the bottom of the ocean. And of course he died like a week later in a helicopter accident. But
It's kind of how it seems to go.
yeah, yeah. And it is super interesting though, because like you just said, we haven't excavated the Sahara, we haven't done any kind of archaeology on it, we haven't stepped foot on Antarctica, and we haven't explored our oceans, but we want to go to Mars. Which, by the way, there's pictures of Mars that look identical to like pictures of like the super northern part of Canada.
Yeah, and of course they've had the thing like the rovers are there, and
Yeah.
and it's tough to like. I want to believe all that stuff is true, and I do believe it, but at the same time, like with what the government like what they hold from us, it's. I would like to know like just like everything, like just a big document, like hey, here's everything we haven't been telling you guys. Have at it. Go ahead and read it. It'll never happen. I mean that's a metaphorical situation, but it'd be so interesting to kind of see like what we're missing out on or what's being held from us.
Yes. Yes, indeed. All right, here. I'm going to share this video of this guy that's talking about that talks about the bottom of the ocean. 1 second here. Oops, 1 second. Forgot to press a button. Let's do this. Okay, let's share. All right, there we go. Okay, let me know that you can hear this before I press play for sure.
Scene in the bottom of the ocean. Yeah, it was while filming for Blue Planet. It was in the Gulf of Mexico. I noticed there's something out in the distance. Couldn't tell exactly what, but it looked like a dark band. And as we approached it, the dark band became a donut. I saw this donut that was black in the center. What the heck is that? And so as we get closer and closer to it, I noticed that the black band had what appeared to be kind of steam over it. And then I looked, and there was water lapping against the shoreline. This band was a ring of mussels. And inside the ring of mussels was a lake. And it's like, wait a minute, I'm already underwater. We went out over the water in this lake and tried to descend in it and bounced off. It was so super saline and dense that the submarine couldn't go down in it. We literally bounced off, and as we bounced off, we sent ripples heading back to the shoreline. It was insane. I've never seen anything like it.
Now, that documentary, I don't know the exact name of it. I can put it in the description if anybody's interested, but it's super interesting. And by the way, you want to know who was with him for that exploration? James Cameron.
I was actually going to guess James Cameron too, because I was this around the time like he was making Titanic or something, because I know he was big into doing all that.
Yep. Very, very weird.
And you said the guy who was talking, he died in a helicopter crash?
The week after the documentary released.
So a good rule of thumb is if you come across something like that,
don't go in any helicopters.
Stay home.
Stay home. Lock yourself in this bubbled room, and then you'll end up hung on one of your fucking like you'll be hung with a belt in your closet or something if you stay home. So regardless, you're gonna die if you find something.
Yeah, if you know too much, you're dangerous. So
yeah.
Stay home and stay dumb.
Yeah. That's about all I got for conspiracy theories. Do you have anything else to add?
No, this is good though. This is good. When we're hanging out, we're gonna have to do a deeper dive into some of these things you were talking about. It's interesting stuff.
Yeah, I love it. Personally, I don't really know what my opinion is on anything. We kind of discussed about it earlier, how I just am focused on myself and keeping myself healthy and my family healthy.
Right.
And there's not a whole lot of control you have over everything else that's happening in the world. So just try to keep yourself happy and keep yourself healthy.
Right. And I feel like the same way too. I feel like I have an ever evolving opinion about some topics because as you learn more and hear from people and gain a different perspective, your opinions, it's malleable. It's going to change over time as you learn more. So
Yeah.
it's tough to make a determination day to day. Just keep learning. Well, I guess that would contradict what I just said about staying dumb, but maybe keep learning. Just don't go on national television and talk about it.
Yeah. And don't go to the bottom of the ocean and try to jump through a portal and tell anybody.
Yeah. Just hang out with your buddies and crack a couple
J
beers and
Dogs.
a couple J Dogs and talk about it at the fire.
I hope the J Dogs thing catches on. And I want to thank everybody for listening. Comment, like, subscribe. Gavin, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Jesse.